Shabbat Shalom! Have you ever played Follow the Leader? Follow the Leader is so fun, isn't it? You pick a leader and what do? You watch the leader, right? And whatever the leader does, you do the same thing. And wherever the leader goes, you go the same way. We're following the leader, the leader, the leader. We're following the leader, wherever she goes. It's so fun. And then you can trade off and each person can be a different leader. When the Israelites were wandering in the wilderness, they had a leader. Do you know who their leader was? If you said Moses, you're right. But Moses was following something too. So Moses wasn't the leader in the front. Who was the leader in the front? Do you remember? Let's read our Torah portion.
And on the day the Mishkan was set up, the cloud covered it. And when the cloud covered the Mishkan, the people stayed there. And when the cloud lifted and moved, the people packed up and moved too.
And they followed Adonai in the pillar of fire by night. The leader in the front was the cloud. The cloud, it was a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. And who is in the cloud? That's right. Adonai is in the cloud. And that's who they're following. Adonai is the leader. And Moses is following the pillar of cloud and fire and Adonai in its midst. And everyone else is following too. So when the cloud set out, then the people would pack up and set out and follow it. Following Adonai is a little more difficult today, isn't it? When we look out, do we see a pillar of cloud or a pillar of fire? So how do we know which way to go? How do we know what Adonai wants us to do with our lives? We can't see him. So how can we see what he wants us to do and where he wants us to go? Well, let's look this way. What is happening with the trees? The trees are moving, aren't they? What is causing the trees to move? The wind! That's right! You can't see the wind, but you can see what the wind does. The wind makes the trees move. The wind is invisible, but its actions are not. In Hebrew, the word for wind is the same word as the word for spirit, ruach. And we call the Holy Spirit the Ruach HaKodesh, right? So maybe we can't see the Ruach, but we can see what he is doing. So we can't see God in the pillar of fire and cloud today, but we can see what he's doing. And that is one way for us to know which way he went, so we can follow in the way that he wants us to go. Also, we have a bit of an advantage over the Israelites because they didn't have all the words of God written down for them, but we do. So we can read his word and we can get to know him in there and see where he is, who he is, what he's doing, where he's going, and what he wants us to do, and where he wants us to go. So his word gives us direction, and watching what he's doing on the earth gives us direction. And these are the ways that we can see and recognize and follow our leader. And when we're choosing human leaders to follow, Yeshua actually tells us something about who to look for and who to be careful not to follow. In Matthew chapter 7, he says, "Beware the wolves in sheep's clothing." Those are the leaders who are not good to follow. They look like they're good to follow, but they're not. And how do we know? He says, every tree that bears good fruit is a good tree. But if it bears bad fruit, then it's not. Well, a leader is the same way. If the leader is bearing good fruit, then that's a good leader to follow. But if the leader is bearing bad fruit, not a good leader to follow. Shabbat Shalom.